All right, welcome back. We're going to talk a little bit about tracks in GarageBand today. Now, if you notice over here, this left-hand column right here, it says tracks, and beneath that you've got your tracks, kind of like when you had a 4-track recorder. And each instrument, you'd record on its own track. We're using the songwriting template, which comes pre-populated with a certain number of tracks here. This is actually a vocal track, acoustic guitar. This says live pop horns, but it was originally a keyboard. I think we changed that last time. A bass and a drum track. And this drum track has already got a drum loop in there ready for you to go, so you can start right away. But let's take a look at these tracks. Now, this top one here, when I select it, you see it turns blue, so we know this is the selected track, and it's got this red dot, this red button right here. That's the record engage button, basically. You can see that right now it's ready to record. It's bright red, and you can see these level meters are bouncing with my voice. If I click that, that turns it off, and it's not going to record anything. So let's just turn that back on for right now. While we have this track selected, if we go over to the far right, in this right column here, we'll see in blue, just like this track is blue, it says real instrument. Now, real instrument is just what it says. It's like a vocal or an acoustic guitar, electric guitar, drums if you're recording some drums or percussion or tambourine or harmonica or whatever it might be. That's real instrument as opposed to a software instrument, which is something that's where the sound is generated from within the computer. So this is a real instrument. This is our vocal track, and if we go down here, there's a picture of a microphone. That's really cool. It kind of lets you know what it is. And further down here, it says vocals, and to the right of that are some other words here. These are basically presets of effects chains that you can apply to vocals. There's live performance, which is what it's on right now. We could change that to pop vocals. These effects chains include things like EQ, compression, maybe some reverb. Basically just a kind of a standardized effects chain for vocals. And you can actually even tweak those to your heart's content, or you could use no effects. The top one is always no effects. You can apply your own effects in whatever order you want there. You can also get creative, and you don't have to apply vocal effects to vocals. You can click on guitars and apply the British invasion effect, or tweak that, whatever you want to do. You can just go crazy with it. So that's really nice. But let's go back over to the left. Oh, you know what? I put that on British Invasion. Let me just pop it back down to pop vocals. See, right here, it tells us pop vocals, so we know what setting we've got. Now, right next to this red dot, there's a little speaker icon, and if you click that, it turns blue. What that does is that mutes this track. When you're playing back some tracks and you're trying to mix your song, you can mute individual tracks by clicking that. Mute them and unmute them. Next to that is a little headphone icon. It turns yellow when you click it. That solos that particular track, and you can solo more than one track at a time. But let's say you just wanted to listen to this track. You click the yellow button, and you'll notice down here our drum track. It's kind of a bright blue, the actual audio file. But if we click this, it turns gray, so we know that that's been muted and this one's soloed. And you can, of course, solo more than one track at a time, just as you can mute them as well. Next to that is a little padlock icon. This locks and unlocks your track. What that does, let's say you've got a track you've recorded, you want to make sure you don't delete it or change it. You can lock it so that nothing will happen to it. But better than that, once you start applying a lot of effects onto a track, your computer really starts to work a lot harder. So your computer can get bogged down the more effects you put on a track and the more tracks you have. So by locking this track, what that does is it renders the audio file in such a way that it's not using as much CPU power from your computer, so it's less strain on your computer. That's awesome to have. Next to that here, I'm going to go down to the acoustic track before I show you this. This is your pan button. When you're mixing, if you want to set the acoustic guitar to stay over to the right, you can do that, or to the left. And a volume, you can set a basic volume level. But let's say you want to really get crazy with it. You can click this little triangle button here, and this gives you your automation lane. So let's say you want your guitar to be at this level till about right here, and then you want it to come down a little bit. You can adjust the volume. It's rather than having to manually adjust faders, you can do that. You can also do that with pan, left to right. Make it pan from left to right during the song. That's always kind of freaky. You can also adjust the automation for effects. So let's say you want a reverb swell. You go here, click reverb, and you can get a little lane just like you did for this for reverb. Anyway, that's all the time I have because I've got 5 minutes and we're just about out of time. So join me next time. We'll talk about some more stuff like this. I look forward to it. See you then.